So are we rolling? Are we rolling? I don't know. I don't know. So we're here today with the cast, the main cast, the core four of Are We
Oh,
Rolling?
cute.
So we have our leading lady and showrunner, Miss Katie. We
Hi.
have our dynamic duo, everyone's favorite ship, Diego and Steve. And we have everyone's favorite faculty member, sorry, Gilly. Good old Joe. We got Joe San Augustine. All right.
Maria, you
Who's
are
it?
the worst moderator.
And this is the
That
lovely
hurt.
Maria
That
who is
hurt.
moderating for us today.
Yes.
And
She was in
also
one
a
episode.
cast member.
One
Yeah.
Yeah.
episode.
Might
Hold
have saw
up.
me. Might have saw me in episode 3. I don't know.
Damn, I can't believe Robin's really getting into character and avoiding all of us.
Yeah.
And
No,
we
we're gonna see
totally
Robin in the
forgot
background of each of our
about
screens.
Tom.
She's
She's
gonna be
filming.
walking
She's
back
filming.
here.
Very in character
Yeah.
of her. Very in character.
Unfortunately, Taha and Robin couldn't make it. But we'll be talking about them. So.
We're
Yeah,
down 2
talking
dogs,
shit.
but that's okay.
Yeah, Robin might come. Robin might come, actually.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have a special surprise gift of her showing up.
Maybe. Let's get right into it. So, I would love to hear, how did the idea of doing a mockumentary come about? Who came up with it? Give us the details.
I
Okay,
did.
yeah, so no, you didn't.
I totally did. I have the text to
Was
prove
it
it.
you? Well, so it was actually like a group thing because I came in this semester solely to write. I did not think I was gonna do anything but write. And then we were all talking, and Taha had mentioned that, like, in a perfect world, he would have done a mockumentary kind of thing. And I was like, I would love to do something like that.
And I was already
and
making jokes about us hanging out, and 440 was basically a podcast.
yeah, like we all just, so it was really collaborative.
Mhm.
I
I think it's
I
funny because we'd like be hanging out for 40 all the time, like just not doing anything, and like something funny would happen, and like we had this idea of a mockumentary, didn't have anything written down, and then something like slightly funny would happen. We'd be like, write that down, right? That's going in the mockumentary.
Yeah.
Write that down, and then like eventually we had enough write those down to like make an episode or 2 or 3.
I feel like
Yeah,
I
and-
signed on before I even knew you guys. I was just like, okay, I'll be a part of it.
Yeah. We talked about it for like a month before anything even happened.
We had all
Wow.
these plans, all these ambitions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally I was like, all right, we gotta like get off our butts and like actually do this. Didn't even necessarily say it was gonna be like about our club. Like we're like, oh, if we were to do a mockumentary, what would we even do it on? And then I think we were all just like, let's do this. Like what else, do what you know kind of thing. So, because there was for a
Aw.
while where everyone was like, should we do something different? And then I don't know. I was like, no, I'm not. I don't know anything else.
I don't know anything else. You know, we're kind of just
Yeah.
here. We kind of just
Yeah.
hang out in here.
We're all just here already, so might as
Yeah.
well.
Wow, I
Mhm.
don't think I could picture it like being any other like kind of entity or like club or like a job or something. I feel like it just like wouldn't be as
Could have
funny.
been cool if it
Well-
was like a tennis team or something.
Yeah, we should
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
because Diego
That
plays
would be funny.
tennis. We could.
Yeah, I
we
play
could-
tennis.
It's so random.
Game of
I
Well,
had
the
an
i-
idea involving a kickball team.
The
Kickball.
format of it, the like mockumentary that we ended up with is a little different than what we originally had, because originally wanted to be like, oh, behind the scenes of the shows. Like while we were filming midday, we'd have a camera in there and
Yeah,
have a
that's true.
subplot while we were filming shows, and like the different shows were going to be like each individual plots within each episode.
Oh,
But
remember
then
the
we
old
realized, oh,
cartoons?
that's super inefficient
Breakdown.
and super like kind of in the way for the shows that we do film outside of mockumentary, and it
Mhm.
became more so, oh, this is about the people and about us instead of about the shows. So that is kind of a
Oh.
shift, a bit of a little
Yeah,
difference.
filming wise, it would have been
Hell.
Difficult.
just
No
like,
one would have had
difficult.
fun. No one would
It
have
would
had
have been. It would have just been bad for every person involved in every single show.
Oh, who's here?
Surprise!
Oh,
fun.
God.
Wow.
Oh.
Miss
Oh, my God.
VP.
Finally,
Better late than never.
Where's Brad?
Brad.
died.
I did. Brad,
You're muted.
Hello.
can you hear us?
All right,
Yeah,
there it is.
okay.
There it is.
Okay.
Introduce yourself, please.
Or be
Oh,
frozen,
okay.
whatever.
She froze, and she
Cool.
froze.
Whatever. Fine. We didn't
Well,
want you here anyway.
For those who don't know, this is Robin.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
For
Don't-
those
don't be
who
bad.
don't know,
Feel
that
bad.
was Robin.
That was Robin, who plays Robin.
Oh, that was
that's our
So,
VP,
yeah.
everybody.
Our VP, everybody. I'm looking at the old character breakdowns right now, because like we actually had a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, we had a lot that went
Yeah,
into this, and like
please.
only like 6.
I think
new characters.
Diego's was just Diego. Like his.
Yeah,
his
mine was
Yeah.
just
just
it's
Diego.
like Diego and like douchebag, just you know what I mean?
All right, here we
It
go.
really-
They're
Stephen
synonyms.
Ross
They're
Beguile.
synonyms.
Just call me
Stevie
Ross.
Ross, professional name, but the program calls me Steve or Steven. King TV's self-proclaimed star acts like a hotshot, but possesses very little to no skill. He refuses to learn anyone's name but Diego's. Maria's character as matchmaker, first person to point out Diego and Steven's bromance, Southern Belle. That didn't happen. Diego,
Yeah,
just
well,
Diego.
kind of. Yeah.
Joe, it
Just
depends on the
Diego.
situation. Deadpan or over the top, no in between. That kind of happens.
That makes sense. That counts. That checks out.
Yeah, because that's just how I am in real life. I'm literally the only person that's playing myself.
Mm.
I'm already a character. Anyway, Katie, Jessica Day, but make her more controlling.
No, I thought she was like Walmart Jenna Fisher.
She is.
Isn't
God,
that the
this is
same
so
thing?
annoying.
Are you good, Rob?
I think so.
All right, let's go. Let's keep going down the list. Taha, unsung hero. Robin,
We-
Angelo from The Office. Angelo from The Office does not want to be there and is extremely fake and rude.
That's supposed to be for Robin. Yeah.
That's me.
Yeah, I did read Robin.
The way the characters were is that I pretty much told everyone I don't care. I was like, just if you want to be in it, you write your character description and send it to me. And most of us ended up doing like a very exaggerated version of ourselves.
Except me.
The
Except for
person
Joe, who decided to be himself.
we really wrote Taha though. If Taha wrote himself,
Taha is
yeah,
the-
we really
Taha's
wrote
not
Taha.
himself at all.
I
Taha's
feel
not
like
himself at all.
Taha would probably be my character.
And I like how the description of Taha is like unsung hero, but he really just becomes punching bag.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. We knew.
Well, didn't Taha volunteer for that?
So
Oh yeah,
No.
he was totally cool with it.
He was cool with it. We told him this idea. He's like, "Oh, that's like I don't care. It's funny." But
Yeah.
like,
He was
Yeah.
he was kind of like, what do you want my character to do? And I was like, I'm letting people write their own character. And he's like, oh well, you just if you have an idea, let me know. And as we like kept going, I was like, we really need someone to be like a Toby kind of character, but I don't want us to be like as mean. And he was like, sure, I'll do that. And I was like, okay, cool.
I almost
Hmm.
agreed to be the unsung hero because Katie said in the chat, like, hey, who wants to be the unsung hero? And at
Yeah.
the time, I didn't really have a character. I knew I wanted to be a part of the show, but Taha beat me to it. So wouldn't that be crazy if that was like my
That would have
character,
been
though?
insane.
I can't.
It would have been
I
weird.
can't
Weird.
imagine it. I feel like we would have ended up changing it.
Yeah. It doesn't fit Robin.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, Taha's probably the furthest away from his character. And then other than Joe, who literally is just playing himself, who do you think's the closest to their character?
Oh, Diego.
Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a caricature, but it's sealed in truth.
No, it's pretty much
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I admit to
All
it.
the best lies have some kind of truth to them, right?
Every good joke has some truth.
I feel
Who do you
like I'm
think
definitely
is
nicer
least?
in person.
I think
Oh,
so
you
too.
are.
I think
Yeah.
I'm nicer
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I think I'm
nicer
pretty much
than my
the same.
character.
I know
Yeah.
your guys' names. So.
Oh my God, Steven, what is that behind you?
Oh, this is my web series.
I know. I
Baby
was
Boy.
about to. I was watching it. I'm like, is
Go
that
watch
Baby
it.
Boy? That's the John Mayer episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow, you remember it so well, Robin.
No, she watches it in her free time.
Mhm. She watched it religiously. She
Her
has a
guilty
poster on her
pleasure.
wall.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you made a poster for it.
Only the
She
super
did,
fans.
yeah.
Oh gosh. Anywho, let's keep moving on. So, who exactly worked on writing the first episode, and like, what made you guys, start it off as like a welcome to the studio kind of like tour of like 440, and then establishing the characters, and then going to the studio, that whole thing.
Writing? Yeah, you want
Can
to
I-
go first?
Yeah, can I say, because like Katie had like a bunch of scenes and a bunch of like things written, and it almost was an episode. You know, like she like wrote the majority of it, right? And then like one day when we were supposed to like film a lot of stuff, I was like, I don't like it. And so then like I wrote my version of it, which was just her version with like structure, I guess. You know, and like I don't want to make this sound like, oh, Katie doesn't know how to write. I want to make it sound like, oh, like it's her meat. I just added like, oh, here's some vegetables. Here's some like how to bridge it. Here's like a subplot. And so the two of us really wrote episode 1 and episode 2 that way, really. And then episode 3 was entirely Joe and Rob,
Right.
and with a joke here and there from Kate and I.
Yeah. So for episode 1, honestly, like writing episode 1 was hell. It was the hardest thing. Diego and I did a lot of editing for him for Midday, so we knew how to work together, and I felt completely out of my element writing episode 1. And like you said, like I had a bunch of scenes of like, I want this to happen and I want this to happen and this needs to happen in order for this to happen next and that kind of stuff. But like Diego kept telling me over and over again, like every time I pitched something, he was like, okay, but that's not a plot. And I was like, yeah, but it can be. It can be. If we just flush it out, it's a plot. And he was like, no, that's not a plot.
I'm like, that's a premise. That's not a plot.
I know. And it was just like so frustrating. So I finally like wrote it and I was like, I finished it. I finished the episode. Here it is. So we're sitting in 440 and he is sitting there with, it might even have been my laptop that you were working on, but it might have been yours. And he was like, I'm going to open a new doc and kind of just like paste things over and rework it completely. And I was like, you know what? We're supposed to be filming episode 1 today, whatever. And so he kind of like took my scenes and added structure, made it. I'm not gonna say better.
I made it a show. I made it
Katie
an actual.
Birchfield graduated with BA in English.
Yeah.
Diego Mendoza kind of writes sometimes.
Kind of writes sometimes.
How was it like filming all of this? Because, you know, you guys have filmed together on multiple shows already, but, you know, this was Katie's, you know, first show that she really, like, I know you direct Midday all the time, but it was like you wrote it, you directed it, you know, you filmed it sometimes even. So, you know.
Yeah. So
we filmed the first few scenes of episode 1 right after Pop Culture Corner. And then like that was before we even had that finished script from Diego.
I had one, that was like the one thing I knew without a doubt I wanted in there.
The rescue
the
scene, right?
with Jaden yelling at everyone. Yeah.
The best
that
scene
came
of that
on
episode.
Pretty quickly when I started thinking of like ideas. I was like, oh, someone's going to be mad about this. And Jaden offered to be that person. With Midday, which was the only thing I had done any kind of work with before, was done in a studio. So it was a completely different experience. Like I said, when I came in, I was only going to write, and I knew like I didn't really want to touch a camera. I was like, that is not shaky hands. Like it's not going to be good if I touch a camera.
Too bad.
Sweat dripping off of it. You know?
as your like lead camera on Midday.
As I'm like a camera operator on Midday, it's a very different experience. So it was just different, and then also just there were so many of us. You have to like coordinate times, and it's just like frustrating. And I'm a very like on and off kind of switch person. So it's like I'm here to work. Like it's like the switch goes on, and I become probably like my character. I become a menace to everyone around. I feel like there was a few times everyone was like, "God, what is wrong with her?" Or like,
wow, that's a question I ask every time I see you.
No, that happened a few times.
I know. Yeah, Robin was frustrated with me a bunch in episode 2.
And vice versa, because I know she was frustrated with me.
Well, it was so funny is there was one time I said something to Robin, and she to me it was just me saying like, hey, you know, whatever, but I heard it like come out of my mouth, and I knew it sounded harsh, and I just remember Robin going, okay, and I was like, oh man, I'm sorry, like that was on me, like that's on me. But yeah, so for me it was kind of hard. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I think we had fun, but
I think we had fun.
I had fun, and I hope that I didn't deter anyone else from having fun.
I
God,
think
It was a
episode
new
1.
experience for me.
she has PTSD.
Yeah, I think episode 1 was very stressful because, like you said, it's this jump from studio work to being like in kind of an open field, an open arena, and
Yeah.
it's like how to make it look like a mockumentary. How do we make it look this and that? And episode 1 doesn't look the best, like compared to episode 2 looks better and 3 looks the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
Episode 1 looks very much like, oh, we're trying to get this kind of look, but we don't really get it. And like sometimes the sound itself isn't the best, and it's very much like us trying to put it together. For me, at least, because like a thing that like really made it better was that, like, to take some weight off Katie. I think I'm always like putting my hand into things because I'm like narcissistic and want to control over everything. But like whenever she was like, "Oh, Diego, I need you to like film this part," like we had to film the one like stairway scene, but she wasn't there. But like we have such a brain link. We had the same mind. And so there are some points where it's like, okay, like I know what she wants. And I think through that, it kind of eased the process a bit.
That staircase scene was probably the most nerve-wracking scene because I thought you were going to be there for that, Katie. And I think we passed each other. I think like I was heading over and I'm like, hey, where are you going? And you're like, I got to film something else. So it's like, you go film with this crew, and I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this.
She was freaking out. I remember that.
I was freaking out.
She was sweaty hands.
I couldn't film it.
Teeth chattering.
I was freaking out about it too. I sent a like 2.5 minute long voice memo to Diego and was like, this is it. Like, I'm like, seriously, I was in my room holding my phone, acting it out. And I was like, okay, so you're gonna, his arm needs to be here, like whatever. And so I saw the clip, which is like not even 10 seconds long. And I was like, oh, wow, they did it perfectly. That's exactly what I wanted. And I was telling Diego, I was like, dude, you took my notes great. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, the staircase scene. I was like, my memo I sent you. He was, I never listened to a memo. And I was like,
wow,
this is how, like, we just spend so much time doing other things.
Just on that wavelength.
He knew exactly how I wanted.
No, because she gave me the idea of the scene like a while ago. She's like, oh yeah, like a scene where like you fall into Steven's arms, this and that. And I was like, got it. And even if you did send me, I probably got the thing, but it was definitely a thing of like, oh, a 2-minute long voice memo. I'm like, nah, screw that. I'm not listening to that.
Was it
Shout out to Victor though. Yeah, shout out to Vic.
Vic really
was the one that filmed it. Because I had
Vic's the only one that knows how
and
to
then
make something
he
look
came out
like
of nowhere with his beautiful camera, and then he did a really good job filming.
And his beautiful smile and his luscious lips, and
he's really tall.
Great guy.
Really tall.
Really
all
tall.
around. Imagine he like never even sees this. Like,
no, we'll tag him. We'll tag him.
We'll tag him. Okay.
Yeah.
But were there any like hiccups that happened along, the way for episode?
Well, there's
trying to figure it out.
I mean,
there's Breathgate.
It's the first episode. It's a pilot of a new show that we came up with 2 weeks before started filming.
Let me give a brief explanation. Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. So if you're watching this now, the past 10 seconds have been cut to protect a certain person. Audio wise, we don't have mics. We don't have readily available mics, and so we had to rely on the microphone that's attached to the camera. And there's a certain someone who, when we'd film, was kind of audible in every single shot we filmed. And so if you, and so that wasn't the best.
The first episode is.
It was Taha, guys.
It was Taha.
Yeah, it was Taha.
It was always in the way.
Yeah, even on the shots where the camera was on him, it was Taha.
I was really happy that it wasn't noticeable to
that
others.
Much. Yeah.
I remember that when during post production, Maria and I were sitting there, and I was like, I'm so frustrated about this, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I was like, all right, I'm not gonna say another word. And then as we kept going, she was like, oh, I hear it now, and I was like, okay. But then other people, when I was like, hey, did y'all there was one person, I don't know if it was any of you guys, that I was like, did you hear anything? And they were like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And then once I said it, they were like, oh, playing it back.
Well,
once
Joe pointed it out to me,
and
I could not stop hearing it.
Yeah. Once it's one of those things.
Yeah.
No, Katie was livid. Kate and I went out to lunch or something. She's want to stop talking about it.
Yeah.
But hey,
there's
those are
so
the
much breathing, and
those
you
are the
hear
episode
it.
1 hiccups that you should expect.
So they were using my camera for the bulk of episode 1.
Oh, yeah.
God, I hate you all. I set my camera to white balance in 440. They did not change the white balance, so like every time we were outside of 440, it was just so blue.
No, it wasn't even. Is that what that lens does? Is white balance?
No, there was just an option for white balance, and no one ever fixed it.
No, Joe. It was a blue lens because one of our camera people said this is hey, everything's showing up blue. Like this lens is blue or
because
whatever.
You didn't white
and
balance.
I was like, is that in like, do we need a different lens or whatever? And then I think Diego was like, no, I think you do that in post. And I was like, oh, okay, then we're good.
God, man.
Who said that?
This is where I fight both
but
the
I
writers.
think all of us were like, oh no, like none of us. Here's the hiccup. None of us knew what we were doing in episode 1. That's the hiccup.
One who knew what they
no
were
one
doing.
knew what was happening.
Oh my god!
But I was busy doing actual work in my office, and like,
yeah.
So like every time they're outside of 440, it was just blue.
Yeah, Joe was like, hey, all of your clips outside are blue. And I was like, what do you mean? And you sent me one of them. And I was like, what do we do? And he was like, you just got to color correct it. And I was like, what does that mean?
Well, it's when you correct the color. I don't know how else to explain it to you.
That's exactly what he said. He was like, you color correct. And I was like, what? Like, that is no idea.
To be fair, I was relaying that so in hopes that you would relay that to Maria.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I probably could have done it, but you know what? DaVinci has a way better color corrector than Final Cut does, so it kind of worked
it's
out
so
well.
great. I color corrected every single episode, actually.
I'm sorry that Final Cut just doesn't have good color correcting.
Yeah, dude. The cameras we used did like not match.
They didn't match at all.
So I had to like.
We worked with what we got.
Like it matched.
Wow, I had no idea you did all of that. Well, thank you.
This is the things you don't realize, the behind-the-scenes magic that just happens.
We are the non-editors.
I didn't even clock in for those hours.
Can I bring something up that might be off topic? I'm not sure if this was discussed.
Okay.
I want it to be known that Diego did not create the title of 440. That was created by Robin Epstein right here.
That's what I was about to actually ask. I was going to get into that. Thank you for setting it up perfectly for me, Robin. How did the name of the show come about? Because I know that was a very controversial thing. Every time I came into 440, like Katie was like, what do you think it should be called? Asking everybody what they thought it should be called.
She had like her hands around someone's neck. So what's the title?
Exactly. That's exactly how it happened. That was a really good impression. But how did we settle on Are We Rolling? I'd love to hear.
Yeah, we settled.
Really
yeah, exactly.
I didn't mean it like that.
That was like talk about issues with anything. The title was from the get-go, and still to this day, behind the scenes, none of us actually call it Are We Rolling? We all call it Mock. We knew exactly what we were doing, and we had no idea what we wanted to name it. We started filming, and I guess it was maybe the day before, a few days before filming, that we were like, we got to figure something out. And so, I mean, actually, the fact that we needed to name the show is what became the plot point of episode 1.
I was arguing for that. Like, I wanted the plot point of the first episode to be the name of it for a while.
Yeah. Originally, the plot point was people fighting about their TV shows. Yeah. And Diego hated that idea.
I hated that. I
hated the idea.
Because it's garbage. It's an awful idea. And so I was like, whoa, in real life, this is what we're fighting about. And I'm like, this could make for like an easy episode.
Yeah. So we all started like pitching ideas, and I was like, okay, if this is going to be the episode, every person pitches an idea, and then whatever, someone will end up naming it. I really don't know who came up with it pretty quickly, that Robin was going to be the character that names the show, or that says the line that names to name the show. So we started throwing a bunch of ideas out there.
I don't know.
Everyone. I'll put it on blast. Everyone wanted the show's title to be 440, and I was like, absolutely not.
I didn't.
And Katie was like, "No."
Oh, really?
Stupid.
I didn't know that.
I don't like it.
I didn't want
a
whatever
people liked
suggested.
it.
I still
Whenever
remember
Diego told me,
like
So that
I
was
liked
true.
440 to be honest.
Everyone
I
liked
thought it
440.
was-
Yeah,
Everyone
everyone
liked
but the
440.
most
I hated
important person, I guess, Katie, liked it.
It was funny because I was like, yeah, this is a collaborative show. Like, everyone pitch your ideas. If you want to like write, if you want to do whatever. And then everyone was like, oh, I like 440. And like Diego kept just pitching it to people like, oh, we might name it 440. And I was like, no, like it will not be 440. I do not want that as the title.
Is it really our show at this point, Katie?
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
this
that was
coming
like
from someone who
the
didn't
one
like
the one
440
part I
the
was
name.
cool. It's like, this is my show. We're not naming it 440.
Gosh,
I think-
I thought
I could tell you from my perspective when it came to naming the show, I think the original name was Welcome to the Studio. And
Stupid, awful
Yeah.
name.
which
I-
I didn't like either. But I
no
was like,
one
I
liked
have
that.
nothing. I have
studio.
nothing
And I
else.
was like, no, not a fan. And then like I thought of 440 because I'm like, we're always in 440. I guess at the time I envisioned the show to predominantly take place in the room 440.
That's why I was against it, because I
Which
knew it
was a
wasn't gonna be.
change because like originally I wanted a lot of it to be in the studio, which just like wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
not feasible.
And then
Not
Diego
feasible.
agreed with me with 440, and then we tried spreading the word like 440,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
they were like, if
440.
we get enough
Obviously-
people.
you
Yeah.
guys
And it was never
campaigned
gonna be
hard.
440.
Yeah, we
They
did.
Well, what's
And then
funny is
hard
episode
with
3 did
440.
not
with
take place
Are
in
We Rolling,
440
it
at
was
all.
just kind of like approached to me. It was like, all right, Robin, you're going to say the final line of the episode, and it's called Are We Rolling? And I felt like at that point, I was like, I was so tired of just like fighting over like a title. I was like, have at it. Are We
Well,
Rolling?
we were pretty happy. Which was actually a reshot. Robin's end scene is a reshot. So we had filmed everything else, and the day that we were filming, her line was, "Who even cares about this show? Just leave it untitled." And so it was going to be called Working Title, and then each episode was going to be a name pitched. And then behind the scenes, we were still. I wasn't happy with it, or like I was okay with it. I was like, working title works, and then it'll be called working title, and then just each episode will be like the tagline, episode title, whatever. But I still wasn't happy. So like we were still pitching ideas that weren't put on episode 1 of names, and one we thought about going with was Diego's. What was it? The one that he really wanted after 440 was Quiet Offset.
Quiet Offset, yeah.
Which wasn't pitched on the show, but we had talked about behind the scenes. And I was really upset because it was the best one that had been pitched so far. And I didn't like that Diego was going to be naming my show.
Anything but
We'll
Diego.
leave it at working
Anything but
title.
me.
We've already filmed it. I was like, we'll leave it at working title. And then I was still like coming up with names that I didn't like. And I don't know if I watched the scene because I didn't even understand, or like it didn't click to me that it was the first line until later on. But I was like, oh, are we rolling? Like that's what it was. I was watching a blooper, one of the bloopers, and someone says, are we rolling yet, or are you rolling? And I was like, that's it, that's the name of the show. We say that so much offset, or like behind the scenes, that's the name of the show. So we refilmed Robin's scene, and then it ended up just like coincidentally being the first line and the last line.
Are we rolling? Are you still rolling?
So you're telling me that we almost named this show. Put that in. Write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down.
Write that down.
Yeah,
That's what
write
it
that
should have
down.
been.
Yeah.
No, but I love that it like kind of opens and closes the same way.
Yeah, it
I
works
love
out.
that so much. So let's get into like also like what everyone's favorite scene to film was. Like what was the most fun out
Of
of
episode 1.
of
Of
episode
episode
1?
one?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
episode 1?
Yeah.
Ugh.
What are we talking about?
Your favorite scene of episode 1 to film.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us your character without telling us your
Probably
Are we rolling, not baby boy?
probably the staircase scene, because Katie wasn't there.
And you know who
And
was
also-
there?
Yeah, also because it's like physical humor, and like that's not something I get to do a lot.
I like
Like-
the scene when me and Diego are throwing the ball around. And he's just like, hey, Taha sucks. And I'm like, yeah. I can see that.
Taha's the worst, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't even know who Taha is.
Diego's look at the camera, that's one of my favorite scenes to watch from episode 1. When y'all are tossing the ball and you catch it and you're just like,
Oh, Diego, before I forget, my whole family fans of you. They think you're cute.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Like my
Oh, just
college
boost his
age
ego
cousins
even more.
like you.
shameless Diego plug.
Shameless. Shameless. This whole thing has been a shameless Diego plug.
Apparently, I think was it Maria's sister thinks that like Joe and I are like a ship couple.
Yes. Okay, so my younger
Disgusting.
sister, she watched the show and she thinks that Joe and Robin should be a couple. She loves that.
Let's just make this very clear. As one of the writers for next season, there's a 0% chance that is happening.
I have relayed that to her, and she's very disappointed. But it doesn't make sense. And she also really wants like an enemies to lover with storyline between Katie and Diego. She wants a love triangle of Katie,
So
Diego,
gross.
and Steve.
So gross.
And honestly, I was dying laughing because like no
people don't.
guys.
Yeah, people don't know this, but Katie is basically like my older sister, non-biologically. We tell people that we're adopted siblings when we go out.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
All right.
And it's such a gross thought. We're gonna get married at 40/45. But that's
another story for another time.
Diego, should we talk about how our ship got created? Like why what the ones that got shipped?
I don't even know how. Like
I know how it got created. I was in the room
like
when
the second day I ever went to like 440. You're
like,
hey.
You were just sitting there, and I'd like have to teach you a song on guitar.
Yeah, you're like
or whatever.
So romantic.
And so wait, I'm gonna show it. So like
so backstory, we were trying to figure out who was gonna be the musical guest star on the first episode of Midday. Will be the recurring guest star, and Diego's like, oh, does anyone know how to play guitar? And Steven walks and he's like, oh yeah, I know how to play guitar, kind of.
Yeah, and so then, I'm like, oh, let me show you how to play this song. And so Steven's right here.
He scoots up right on top of us.
I go like this, like I lean up right next to him and I start singing it to him, and everyone's like, what's happening?
He stares me in the eyes, like
stare him in the eyes.
Look at the guitar once.
He's loving you with with his eyes, and I'm just like, yo, this is gay as hell.
And then someone was like, we could do something with this. Someone's like, write that down.
He wrote it down.
Somebody was like, these are the two cutest boys here. We need
says
to write
a lot,
this
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And
I need Sam here so I can say this, but I can just say this right now. I'm gonna say.
Oh gosh, it's gonna be.
You have a boyfriend. So like Robin has a boyfriend. And
so Robin has a boyfriend. He says
Robin does have a boyfriend.
This goes back to Frankie's critiques. But
yes,
yeah,
it does. But yeah, so that's what she wants to see next season. So I mean, we'll see if that's what happens.
Robin,
I don't know
what you have to do. You have to kill one of us off.
Bye, Joe.
Like, might be me.
Okay, bye.
Joe does want to die in like every show, so.
It's true.
It is true.
I really
that's his fate. No, it's like No Way Home. Their fate is to die, die by the hands of Robin.
Okay, we can't talk about what if people haven't seen it?
Oh yeah,
that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Last question for episode 1: what was everyone's favorite line of that episode?
Jaden cursing everyone out.
Yo, you know I'm a videographer. No, you want me out of a job? This is my livelihood, man. What do you want me to do, huh? No.
Pretty good one.
Oh, just all bleeps. So funny.
I thought that was going to be harder. I thought the bleeps were going to be harder, but I knew I wanted them, and they were so easy. No, it was so easy, and I was like, "This is amazing!" Like, so
that's
good.
what happens when you edit with me.
Yeah, everything becomes so much easier.
He begs to
arguable.
After
arguable.
Well, if you don't steal her computer, it becomes very easy.
Favorite line from episode 1?
I actually never remember my lines because we get it the day of. I kind of want that change. I would like it like days beforehand, so I don't.
Never gonna change.
Hey, I gave you.
Yeah, what about episode 3? I feel like I gave you.
Oh, I like the one when I call Hannah. I say Hannah.
No, it's okay. It's easy. You know, I know your name. Of course, I know your name. It's Hannah. It's Hannah. Hannah.
Not even a little bit close.
Oh, you call me Hannah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which actually happened in real life, which is why we did it.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was I think they asked you what you thought our names were, or like what do you think our names are or something, and it was Hannah. He was like, oh, I could see you being a Hannah. And so when it came time for him to like have a name, he was like, "Oh, I'll just like Hannah." Like,
Yeah, Hannah from Alabama. That's why, you know,
Oh my
Hannah
gosh.
Brown.
oh,
Hannah Brown, if
Hannah
you're
from
single,
Alabama.
hit me up.
You know she has a
Watch it.
boyfriend.
But still, forget that. Hit me up.
Katie has a boyfriend. Off topic.
no, Hannah
What?
Brown. Hannah
Oh,
Brown.
I
Hannah
was
Brown.
kidding.
No.
Katie.
Okay,
I was like,
enough.
no way.
About it.
There's no
He was
universe where
like,
she has a boyfriend.
I
Hey,
was
Hannah
about to
Brown,
say,
5
who want to be
seconds.
attached to that?
That is so rude. That is so rude.
Hi,
Too
I'm an employee
far,
of Kane
Joe.
University.
Gosh. Well, that is the making of Are We Rolling, episode 1. And thank you guys for joining us today. Any final remarks?
Final remark.
if you
Remember to
haven't seen the show, you should
Yeah.
go watch it.
If you
Go.
haven't seen the show, why are you here?
Yeah.
Go watch the show like right now.
All 3
After you watch
episodes.
the
on
show,
Kane
watch my
TV.
show over there.
Yes.
Yeah, let's build some things.
Baby boy.
Oh, it's Let's Build Some Things Now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
all 3 episodes of season 1 are available to watch.
Yes, on Instagram or YouTube, and they've appeared on Union TV, so you could check it out there. So
Remember
yeah,
to like
thank
and
you for
subscribe
joining
and
us.
Yeah,
follow
thank
unless
you.
you're
Yeah,
watching on
channel
TV,
34,
then
right?
you really
Union
can't.
TV.